I see it. Thank you. This meeting of the Genesee County Board of Commissioners is called to order at 5:30. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd. Commissioner Winfrey.
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Here.
Commissioner Brown. Here. Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Present.
Commissioner Kuzno.
Here.
Commissioner Flewelly.
Present.
I'm here too.
Commissioner Wayhill.
All right. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a quorum. Commissioner Shoemaker, will you please conduct the invocation, and then we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, if I could get everyone to bow their heads, and also if we could just join hands for a moment while we pray, if it'd be okay with everyone on this board. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you and we're so grateful that you've allowed us to live and be born in this great nation of ours. Lord, we're going through a lot right now and we really could use your guidance. I ask you to help us to have empathy for our fellow man and woman. Help us to understand what that means, to put ourselves where they are. Give us that. Help us to feel that and live that as commissioners. Help us to conduct ourselves that way as we vote tonight and make decisions that affect our citizens so dearly. Lord, I ask for your blessing upon this county, upon this state, upon this nation. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. We have no meeting minutes to approve. We're now at the point on our agenda where we welcome public address. My spidey sense tells me we're going to have some public address tonight. You have 2 minutes. When you're at the microphone, we ask that you identify yourself by name and where you live in presumably Genesee County, but wherever you live, city, township, or village. So I'm now inviting people to approach. If we have a large group, what we typically do is have people kind of line up on the wall over here. So please stand and approach the podium to speak, but if there's a line, kind of go that way.
Good evening, Commissioners. Again, I spoke a few weeks ago. My name is John Costo, and I'm an applicant for the Bishop Airport Authority.
I think this very thing happened when you spoke the first time.
Clue, it's a sign, right?
Go ahead, Mr. Tosto.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm John Tosto. I'm a lifelong resident of Flint, Michigan. I'm seeking an appointment with the Airport Authority. Seeking this appointment was absolutely a no-brainer for me. With board work, I tend to limit and focus my attention to things I really have a strong passion for. I was a history major at U of M Flint. I didn't go to grad school in history despite my advisor's recommendation. I went to law school. Here I am. But I love history, so I got on the board of Genesee County Historical Society. I've been a board member for 5 years. It involves history, community, two things that I love. Other passions, law, obviously, our community, and aviation, and FNT, which is on my phone case. It's a big part of my life. I think the airport is a gem. I co-own an aircraft that's hangared at Bishop Airport. I spent a lot of time there. I've built relationships with a lot of the members of the fire department, police, air traffic control, maintenance. It's a great special place. It's a gem in our community. And I think my legal background will benefit me on the board if I'm appointed. Contract review, property issues, etc. I think I'd be an asset on many levels there. My younger years, I always looked for a reason to go to the airport. Watch airplanes take off and land. When I'm driving somewhere, I'd take a detour just so I could drive by to see if there's anything cool going on. It's been a big part of my life, and I think I will be an excited member to go to a board meeting. I'd really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. Good evening, everybody. My name's Jose Lopez, and I'm present here today because I applied for the opiate steering committee. I'm not sure what the process consists of. And definitely, the reason why I want to do this is because it definitely it hits home for me. You know, I carry myself with trust. With truth, trust, and concern. I have lived experience. Another thing, too, I currently work at the Latinx Technology and Community Center, where one of our emphasis is public health. I also serve on the Hamilton Community Board. I've been doing for a little bit over a year, where I also sit as a strategic planning co-chair. And there's many other reasons why, but like I said, I have lived experience. Definitely hits home for me. A longtime Flint resident, and there's just so much more. I know you guys have my application, but I wanted to come in person to actually show you who I am as a person, and not just what's on black and white. There's so much more to me. My knowledge is very broad. And at the end of the day, I can't keep what I can't give away. Thank you.
I have notes. Hi, my name is Sandra Roberts. I'm a lifetime resident of Flint. I'm also a longtime employer of Audi Financial. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm here today to express my support for Dr. Bailey. Having worked with her some time, I've observed her excellence in both personal and professional capacities. Her guidance has been instrumental in my development, and I'm grateful for the positive impact that she has had on my life. I'm speaking tonight to express my strong support for Dr. Bailey to be appointed to the Bishop Airport Authority Board. Having had the opportunity to work closely with Dr. Bailey, I have observed her leadership firsthand. She is a thoughtful and prepared professional who is deeply committed to serving the community with integrity. Her ability to balance strategic vision with accountability and effective follow-through is exceptional. Dr. Bailey possesses a thorough understanding of organizational systems and the importance of public trust. She's a collaborative leader who listens effectively and consistently demonstrates both competence and dedication in her decision-making. I'm confident that Dr. Bailey would be a significant asset to the Bishop Airport Authority. And I strongly encourage the support of her appointment. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Angela McQuarter, and I currently live in Davison, Michigan. I have family within Flint, Michigan as well. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I am looking to serve on the Opioid Steering Committee. I believe I would be a strong fit for the Opioid Crisis Board because I bring both professional experience and personal understanding of the impact that this crisis has on families and the communities. I currently work for the Department of Health and Human Services, and I have been there for over 15 years. For more than 20-something plus years, I have worked in social services and education that support individuals and families through both crisis, instability, and recovery. My career includes child welfare, case management, grants, family services, and community-based programming. In these roles, I have learned to access needs, coordinate resources, and advocate for services that promote safety, stability, and long-term success. But beyond my professional experience, this issue is very personal to me. I am an indirect victim of the opioid crisis and other crises that we witness today in our communities. I have witnessed devastating effects of substance abuse on family members, friends, and leaders within my own community, whether through prescription medications or street drugs. I have seen how addiction poverty and lack of access to services intersect and leave families, especially young children, feeling helpless, homeless, and alone. There was a time when funding meant to support those impacted by substance abuse reached the right people. Lately, that doesn't always seem to be the case. Young children are being left out.
You can continue and finish.
Okay, sorry. I will work to ensure that the resources are used wisely, that prevention and education remains priority, and that families that are directly impacted are, have direct contact with the resources. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
Thank you for the opportunity tonight to speak. Special thank you to Commissioner Brown for the invitation. I'm Dr. Tanya Bailey. I'm a local pastor. I am an educator, community leader, and lifelong resident of Flint. My interest in serving on the Bishop Airport Authority Board comes with a deep belief that our airport is more than infrastructure. It's a gateway to opportunity, to equity, and economic vitality for our region. I was raised in Flint, actually grew up on the corner of Black and North, and I understand firsthand how systems can either open doors or quietly close them. Airports shape our communities, and they are our connection in how businesses grow, how talent flows, and how a city actually is perceived. Bishop Airport represents the possibility of Genesee County, and I want to help steward that possibility with intention and care. Professionally, I bring experience in government, strategic planning, financial responsibility, and community engagement for over 35 years. I currently serve in executive leadership roles in higher education, in healthcare, in spaces where accountability, collaboration, and long-term vision are essential. Equally important, I bring a strong community tie. I believe that public boards are the most effective way that reflect the voices, the values, and the lived realities of the people they serve. I am grateful for the encouragement that I've received thus far from several community leaders, residents, as well as organizations across Genesee County who believe in my commitment, who've witnessed my public service and responsible governance. If appointed, I will serve with integrity. I will serve with diligence. I will serve with honor. Thank you so much.
Hi, Board. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dylan Michael Luna, and I'm here to speak in support of John Tosto for appointment to the Bishop Airport Authority Board. John is a longtime pilot and dedicated volunteer with Operation Good Cheer, a Michigan-based nonprofit that delivers Christmas gifts to nearly 6,000 children in youth and foster care each year. Every December, pilots from across the state volunteer their time and aircraft to transport more than 20,000 gifts to children waiting at airports throughout Michigan, including Bishop. His involvement reflects his commitment to service and his respect for the vital role airports play in their communities. He is also an active member of the Greater Flint Pilot Association, where he stays engaged with airport operations, safety, and the needs of aviation community. Just as important, John believes Bishop Airport is a key economic engine for Genesee County. He understands how aviation supports local jobs, attracts business, investment, and strengthens regional connectivity. He is committed to responsible growth that balances economic development, public service, and long-term sustainability. I believe he would bring experience, vision, and a strong community-focused perspective to the Bishop Airport Authority Board, and I respectfully ask you to consider his appointment. Thank you.
Good evening, Robert Van Wormer, Davison Township. I'm a retiree of 2009. Also the secretary of the Genesee County Retirees Defense Association, the group that successfully sued Genesee County, being granted an injunction in 2020 for attempting to unilaterally change our health care. The judge in the case ruled, and I'm paraphrasing, that any increase in out-of-pocket expenses is an undue burden to retirees and a violation of our contracts. That's why Judge Beam granted our injunction. We then made a deal in 2022 with the county to withdraw a lawsuit if our health care was left alone. That was February of 2022, 4 years ago. Now here we are, we're talking about changing our health care again. You talk about going to Smith RX, which is a questionable company at best. Please read their ratings online. Rated a 2.9 out of 5 from their own employees. They did, however, receive a glowing 5 out of 5 review from the spokesperson from Plant Moran. Makes you wonder if they receive anything in return for the review. Smith has numerous policies that will not be good for retirees. Please take a look at those policies. People made a big point in the presentation last week about the Mark Cuban program offered by Smith RX. Well, I'd like to tell you that Express Scripts has a program as well similar to the Mark Cuban program. It's called Clear Network Evernorth. Saved employees and employers over $38 billion since its inception in January of 2024. A cursory search of the internet shows this. Why is this not an option? In closing, if you as a board cannot guarantee that any retiree will not be harmed by this change, you are obligated to not vote for this. If you vote to continue this process, we'll be forced to take you to court again to stop this unilateral violation of our rights. Our attorneys are waiting a call. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Marcy Mabry, and I'm from Davison Township, and I'm a 2010 retiree from the Genesee County Prosecutor's Office. And I'm part of a group of retirees, which we're your people. You know, we're your former employees, we're residents, we're taxpayers. And I'm here also to oppose the change in the prescription benefit plan. First of all, I should point out retirees are a very limited group. 2 of my friends died last year. They're dying, they're going on Medicare, and that's reducing your cost. So the $360,000 that they're promising you're gonna save, I think is actually gonna end up in a bigger nightmare for you guys. And you ask, why? Well, because some of the recommendations and expected results are that 14.5% of plan members would have a different experience with their pharmacy benefits. What does that mean? That means nightmare, not a different experience. So they went on to say, you may be required to do different medications. You may be required to have different formulary tiers. You may have to apply for savings programs. So I would suggest that the different experience is a nightmare for this elderly population. In addition, retirees will need to get an updated script as the mail order pharmacies would change. So if you have like 4 doctors, you're gonna have to rely on those 4 doctors to actually get those scripts in. I can tell you a recent experience I had where one of my doctors, it took 'em months to get the right language, to get the right prescription. So you're asking this vulnerable population to, you know, go and contact all your doctors and change all your scripts. You're being asked to do this within a very short time period, which is very unfortunate for you. But I'm just saying, do not be pushed into a rash decision. Please look at what you're saving. Please look for alternatives. And please choose your people over billboards or whatever else, you know, the county is financing. And appreciate your time. Thank you.
Dr. Susan Hendricks, Grand Plank, Michigan, where I have been a resident and practice owner for 36 years. So I'm here for the FLAC contract. FLAC has been allowing the feds and ICE to access our data. They even have a pilot program for direct access to DHS. This is now becoming a massive nationwide surveillance system, especially with their national lockup program. According to the AP, there's a mass monitoring of millions of American drivers who are then stopping and questioning anyone showing suspicious traffic patterns. They've tracked people at the No Kings and the ICE protests who are doing their constitutional, things that they are allowed to do. They're not, this is what they're, and they're tracking these people and following them. ICE is using violent, unconstitutional attacks on U.S. citizens and legal residents, and it's getting worse. They are abducting, terrorizing, wounding, and killing people, tear gassing even preschools. These are also being used to track women, by the way, who have to leave states that do not allow abortions to try to save their lives. And they're tracking these women to basically criminalize them. So across state lines, you are now being, they're actually searching for you. FLOC, even in places that have, such as Austin, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Santa Cruz, Olympia, Washington, Eugene, Oregon, Oak Park, Illinois, Stanton, Virginia, Flagstaff, Arizona, and Hillsborough, North Carolina have removed their cameras. In some of these places, FLOC has surreptitiously put them back without permission. So that's always a problem as well. I don't think this is good for the U.S. I don't think it's good for Michigan. I certainly don't think it's good for Genesee County. The good that anything they do for law enforcement does not outweigh the risk to be had for our citizens, our residents. Please protect us from ICE and DHS. Do not renew this contract.
Hi, I'm Vicki Hall. I'm Fenton Township. We're here 10 years later, like we were 10 years ago, trying to let you guys know that you really can't do what you're trying to do with the retirees. Now we're talking pharmaceuticals. Before we were talking healthcare. You have to remember there's a word that you use many, many times, and I read it in the meeting from the 28th of January. It was called transparent. That was the word. I don't know how many of you have 9 different definitions of the word, but there isn't any transparency when it comes to the retirees and what we were promised when we went to work here. Mine was in 1990. I've been out for 10 years. There's been so many changes that have come down. I have to follow the actives. Fine with that. I was a union rep for 19 years, and I know how it works. But if you're going to have transparency and you're going to talk about, it's part of the retirees' livelihood because they're on fixed incomes. So when you start messing with their pharmaceuticals, that's a big deal, let alone their medical. My ask is that if the transparency is going to be there, then you need to at least let them know that these meetings are being held. I don't want to tell you what the average age is of the older retirees, but they don't have iPads. They don't know what a QR code is. They have no clue. So for them to be notified, it would be very, very nice if there was like a flyer or something that was going to go out if you're going to have these workshops. It'd be nice if there was a retiree rep who could sit in on your workshops and give you some, like we used to do when we bargained on contracts for the union. But you guys don't do that, and then we find out after the fact what you're going to do, and it's a done deal. I'm just here to represent my retirees, and I always will be. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Robert Link. I'm from Atlas Township. I'm here today to ask that you do not approve the renewal of the FLOC camera contracts. A large network of AI-powered surveillance cameras tracking our movements infringes on the freedoms that are guaranteed to us by the Constitution. We should not be trading our freedoms in for the hopes of a little more safety. The Constitution does not guarantee our safety, only our freedoms. I'd like to discuss some things I've read in our contract with FLOC. The term agency is the customer, in this case, Genesee County Sheriff's Office. Section 1.1 defines agency data to mean media and content provided by agency through the services, and for the avoidance of doubt, the agency data will include the footage. Section 4.2 then states all rights, title, and interest in the agency data belong to and are retained solely by the agency. That means our agency data on the FLOC servers is ours, and we own it. If we own it, then it is public record. This board recently voted to deny my FOIA request for FLOC images, stating, The images in the flock database do not belong to us, and the only time they belong to us is when we download them for an investigation. The contract clearly states that we own the data even when it is on their servers. Our residents have every right to see what data is being collected about them. The contract later goes on to state, the agency hereby grants to Flock a non-exclusive, perpetual, irrevocable, worldwide, royalty-free, fully paid license to use, reproduce, modify, and distribute the agency data. Flock may access, use, preserve, and/or disclose the footage to law enforcement authorities, government officials, and/or third parties, if legally required to do so, or if Flock has a good faith belief that such access is reasonably necessary. We should not leave the question of who gets access to our data in the hands of Flock's good faith beliefs. I don't need to remind you their only motivation is profits. Do the right thing, do not renew these contracts, let them expire, and have the cameras removed. Thank you.
My name is Rosalind Salbenblatt, 6023 Turner Road, Flushing. Thank you for letting me address the board today. I'm here about the safety, privacy, and personal information of Genesee County residents. I originally supported the use of flock cameras. I no longer do. I realized they had a positive impact on solving crimes, and I realized the data stored from the Genesee County flock cameras is under the control of the Sheriff's Department as a separate entity, not the Board of Commissioners. The Board of Commissioners holds the authority of funding for the Sheriff's Office, budget, staffing, and equipment. Several municipalities, including Ferndale, Bay City, and Jackson County, have discontinued the use of flock cameras due to community concerns over privacy, data sharing, and surveillance issues. These same issues are of great importance to me as well as many Genesee County residents. Michigan Senate Bill 508, Senate Bill 509, and Senate Bill 510 address the issues of privacy and personal information as well. I'm also here in support of a proposed resolution establishing a policy of lawful cooperation, resource management, transparency, and compliance regarding civil immigration enforcement activities being presented today. I'm asking that you decline the funding for the flock cameras and renewal fees today to protect the privacy and personal information of Genesee County residents. You work with the Genesee County Sheriff's Department to discontinue their use of flock cameras, and after consideration, discussion, and any changes needed for legality, you pass the resolution that's going to be presented. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Freeman.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Pirtle, and I'm with People Powered Flint. I'm here tonight to introduce a resolution. This resolution does not change federal immigration law, interfere with criminal enforcement, or direct federal agencies. What it does is establish clear lawful standards for how Genesee County uses its own employees' property, data, and resources when responding to civil immigration enforcement requests. Right now, county departments may receive these requests without a consistent guidance on what cooperation is legally required and what is not. The lack of clarity creates real risk of improper data sharing, inconsistent practices, constitutional violations, and avoidable legal liability for the county. This resolution addresses that risk before problems occur. It sets straightforward constitutional standard. The county cooperates when required by binding federal or state law when supported by a valid judicial warrant or court order. Requests without judicial authority are not sufficient. This is not political, it is sound governance and risk management. Importantly, this approach aligns with the actions already underway at the state and national level. Michigan agencies and pending legislation, including Bills 508, 9, and 10, reflect a broader effort to establish clearer guardrails and limit liability for public institutions. Genesee County should not be left behind. This resolution promotes transparency, consistency, and accountability while protecting staff, residents, and public resources. It is fiscally responsible, legally grounded, and proactive. Finally, as you consider related agenda items, including funding for flock security, I urge the board to apply the same standards reflected in this resolution. Our limited resources and public dollars should be directed towards initiatives that deliver clear, demonstrated benefit to our city and county. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I respectfully urge the board to move forward with this resolution. Thank you.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioners. My name is Robert Arnold. I reside in Genesee Township. Being diligent public servants that you are, you probably have not heard this evening's news. This evening's news is coming from the White House, and it plans to take over Michigan elections. That's coming your way. I'm also concerned about flock cameras. I do think they should be discontinued. I have read Ms. Patel's proposal. It's a sound one. I hope you take it under serious consideration. I just want to leave you with a thought about Minnesota, because what happens in Minnesota could happen here. In Minnesota, ICE and CBP are violating the First, the Second, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth, the Eighth, and the 10th Amendments to the Constitution. I don't want to see that fight here. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
My name is Leah Feimster. I am a resident of Genesee County, City of Flint, and I am an employee of the Gloria Coles Flint Public Library. It's good to see you all tonight. I'm here to express my strong support for Dr. Tanya Bailey for the Bishop International Airport Board seat. As our county continues to grow and change, it is important that our board reflects a diversity of voices, lived experiences, and perspectives. Continuing to appoint the same voices limits innovation and community trust. Our public board are strongest when they welcome new leadership along institutional knowledge. Dr. Bailey brings a fresh, informed, and community-grounded perspective along with proven leadership, integrity, and a commitment to collaboration. She understands both governance and the importance of representing the people this airport ultimately serves. I respectfully encourage the Board of Commissioners to support Dr. Bailey and to prioritize inclusive representation when making appointments. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Elizabeth Taylor, and I'm a lifelong resident of Flint and Genesee County. Dr. Tanya Bailey is why I'm standing here this evening. It's exciting to have young people represent us. Dr. Tanya Bailey, I want to take my hat off to her. Dr. Bailey, when I first met her, didn't have her undergraduate degree, and she pursued helping at-risk young people to pursue their degrees. Now she's a doctor, PhD. That's exciting for our community. And I know Dr. Brown knows what it's like to be at the table and have the doctor degree, and with that advanced degree, and have the deliberate insight to what's going on. Also, Commissioner Wayhill has worked with Dr. Tanya Bailey on the Mott Community College Motown. So you know how much foundation money she's helped raise. So I want to say that Dr. Bailey, thank you for asking to be on the Bishop Airport Authority. I stand with you in the future of this community and the commissions. Bishop Airport Authority carries a name of Flint. Dr. Bailey chose to be in this position. Dr. Bailey has traveled as far as Bhutan, China, so she understands airports. She understands what it means to go through those experiences. So she brings a tremendous amount of insight. She and her husband have traveled far and know about airport authorities and how they impact us as travelers. Being a small business owner, she and her husband have a tremendous amount of insight. I would like to say thank you to Attorney Trishelle for letting me take cuts, because I'm 82 years old. I will soon to be 83, and when you ask elders to stand up, shame on me for not standing for over an hour. Don't tell my phys ed teacher.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Attorney Trishelle Young. I know several of you. I am here to express my support for Dr. Tanya Bailey in this appointment. I know you have a very difficult decision to make. I know you have whittled the options down to 2. I also am very familiar with Attorney John Tosto. I work with him. Very fine attorney. So I know the difficult decision you have to make. But I am asking you to consider Dr. Tanya Bailey and what she brings and can bring to that board. Dr. Bailey is an educator, she is a facilitator, she's a motivator, and she's a powerful communicator. And with those abilities, she can bring things together, she can introduce new items, new ideas. She brings a wealth of support. She brings a lot of people, not only from her church, but from the community. She's a business owner. She has demonstrated that she cares about this community. This is a volunteer position that she's asking you to consider her for. And the airport authority is a powerful position, be it not paid. It's time for a new voice in that position. And I believe Dr. Bailey is the right person for that position at the right time. So I'm asking you to consider giving her your support, because not only has she earned it, but she deserves it. Thank you.
I am here also to express my endorsement for Tanya Bailey. As a community advocate, as a community leader, she demonstrates deep understanding of the community and what it needs, and works tirelessly to support its growth. I have no doubt that if she's a member of this team, she will bring a lot of good leadership. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Brackert. I live in Vienna Township. I'm the Vice President of the Genesee County Retirees Defense Association. And I got a prepared statement for you. I'm here tonight to stand in opposition to the move to Smith RX from any employees or retirees from Genesee County. This move was made without input from any retiree. In addition, the only retirees in the Healthcare Coalition jurisdiction over the Healthcare Coalition only has jurisdiction over the marrying people with their language. The people who were enjoined in the lawsuit injunction dated in December of 20 have no language reference in Healthcare Coalition. As in the previous case of Kandersky, it has been declared that whatever is in the 4 corners of the contract that you retired under is what you basically get. Secondly, did Plant Moran ever consider other plans like the Clear Network plan offered by Express Scripts? This plan has been available since January 2024. A cursory Google search made the Clear Network plan easy to find. Skimming through several articles regarding Clear Network, it looks very similar to what Smith RX is offering. The one thing that not necessarily with ClearX is having to rely on the generosity or charity of the drug manufacturers. This is nonsensical. It's a nonsensical way to run this business. From what I've read, the Clear Network plan from Express Scripts does not force people to have to accept charity from the drug companies. Why wasn't any other plan considered? The Genesee County Retiree Defense Association will not stand while 5% to almost 15% of the retirees must hope that drug companies will provide them with charity. It's kind of sad. The initial presentation, thank you.
If you want to send that via email to Director of Administration, he'll forward it to all of us.
Okay.
That way we can see your entire statement.
All right, thank you.
Get you a stool. Council members, neighbors, and everyone who loves this city, thank you for listening tonight. My name is Anthony Hudson. I am a gubernatorial candidate. I live in Grand Blanc Township, and I am here because Flint deserves better than another year of spending $60,000 on flock surveillance cameras that haven't proven their worth. We all know Flint is a community with real needs. Our families are struggling. Our neighborhoods deserve investment. Our young people deserve opportunities, not more eyes in the skies watching them. And with every dollar stretched thin, we cannot afford to throw money at technology simply because it promises safety. Promises are not results. A price tag is not a plan. Before we renew anything, we deserve answers. What has this system actually accomplished for Flint? How many crimes were prevented? How many cases were solved because of these cameras? Not just assisted, but solved. And even if there were a few successes, do they justify pouring $60,000 a year into a system that provides no full transparency, no independent verification, and no guarantee of meaningful change? So let's be honest for a second. Surveillance alone does not build safer communities. People do. Investments in jobs, youth programs, mental health support, street lighting, community policing, and neighborhood revitalization. Those are things we know work because they strengthen the fabric of our city instead of watching it from a distance. And as we acknowledge the human cost, many residents already feel unheard, overlooked, and over-surveyed. Renewing this contract without solid evidence tells those residents that their concerns matter less than convenience. And that is not acceptable. Flint deserves safety rooted in trust, not fear, in partnership, not surveillance. Let's redirect this $60,000 towards solutions that lift people up instead of looking down on them. I urge the council to please pause this renewal, demand real proof, and choose investments that truly move Flint forward. Thank you.
All right. I'm here as a constitutionalist. I have one allegiance, and that is to the United States Constitution, and that's it. I'm here putting every one of you right now on constitutional notice about these flock cameras. Are they not an egregious violation of the Fourth Amendment, First Amendment, 14th Amendment, and the Declaration of Independence on its face? It 100% is. All you're doing is moving us towards a George Orwellian 1984 in real life 2026. This is not what the people want. This is not what the people need. Anything that is, let's just go back to the forefathers. Let's see what they said about it. Anything, you cannot take an essential right and compromise it for safety. Those who would give up essential freedom for safety deserve neither. Is that not what was said? So we cannot just build this to keep people safe. We are so far away from our constitutional rights because of this safety. Terry versus Ohio, Pennsylvania versus Mims. You got ICE running around here like Gestapo Germany. It's out of control. It is the most egregious violation of all of our human rights, if you want to get technical, going all the way to religion. And this needs to be stopped. You guys all have an oath to the United States Constitution. That's it. Not a person, not a party, not anything. To the United States Constitution and to the United States Constitution only. Therefore, if we can show repugnancy to the United States Constitution, you have one job, one duty, and that is to strike it down and get rid of it. And I'm here to tell you right now, your flock cameras and ICE are repugnant to the United States Constitution. And how you gave that gentleman the opportunity to submit his email, I would like that same opportunity. And I will submit every single one of you, every single thing you need, just about doing your job for you, to uphold our rights. And we have to work together. It's we the people, not I the person. Thank you.
Just to note, we have, each of us has a county email. I think it's available on the website. can find it, and we receive those and we read them and respond to them. So feel free to use our email.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Mark Jagus. I live in Linden, and I retired from Genesee County in 2012. And at the time that I retired, I was told by Genesee County that my health benefits were preserved and would be given me the opportunity to continue with the health benefits that I retired with. And they used the term when I retired which was locked in. So I assumed by the information that was given to me by the county that I was good with the health benefits that I retired with. So I just wanted to let you know what we were told, myself and many of the other retired employees from Genesee County at that time, regarding their health benefits. And at the time, I was not interested in retiring. I didn't want to leave the county. I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed the work that I did. But because of the information and the advice I was given by the county, I took that advice and retired. So therefore, my expectation, and I hope you would take this into consideration, is that we were given these promises and as a reason for many of us as to why we retired when we did. Thank you.
Brenda Hanel, Flint Township. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker, for bringing up the question and asking the question about the flock cameras. Simple internet search shows under Wikipedia that the Flock Safety is an Israeli surveillance company. You click on it, that part goes away. It does show the policy, community policing. But there's benefits into it. On the flip side of it, the other LPR camera systems are DRN and Vigilance. They are owned by Motorola Solutions. Motorola also has an Israeli subsection of it. They've also sold technology to China. I've used some of the technologies from these cameras. There are good to it. The problem is, where's the line of good versus the evil part of it? Ultimately, we have so many things that surveil us. It's not just cameras, it's anything smart devices, our phones, refrigerators, cars, all of that. The ultimate goal is a digital ID to track us all. That is where we need to stop it, going that far in advance, because ultimately it's going to be this digital ID, digital currency. And because I'm speaking up here, and I probably went more than 15 minutes from where I live to stop. That's what we need to stop. Thank you.
See if you guys can hear me clearly, yeah? I was raised in Burton. My apartment complex tells me I live in Grand Blanc, even though it still looks awfully similar. And I've had the honor and the privilege and the opportunity of being embraced regularly with kindness and compassion from the Flint community. I can tell you that I do not in any way, shape, or form support flock being used on our communities or in our county. I find it insulting that it's even being considered. And on top of that, I have to tell you, with every person that I come in contact with, strangers, neighbors, or friends, they are unimpressed, offended, and find it to be incredibly disrespectful, the idea of ICE existing alone, let alone allowing them to exist on our streets and within our community. And that's all I have to say. I do not support flock, and you will see me here much more often if you guys decide to open a deal with them. Thank you.
So just a reminder, make sure you give us your name if you would, and then the location where you reside. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lauren. I am a constituent of Flint for the past 2 years. I've been loving every minute of it. I'd like to take this opportunity to say, while I have not been a member of this community for very long, I'd like to think that I've done what I can to listen to the people of the community, and it sounds like they deserve to have their rights right? You guys also being members of the community deserve to keep your rights, right? And the moment we give our rights away is the moment they impede on taking more of our rights. We're looking at it federally right now. We don't need to experience this in Genesee County any more than what we already are. I've always been a Michigander from Metro Detroit. I love to hear that Ferndale knocked the flock cameras. I'd love to hear that Flint did the same thing. I hate to see that there's 4 on a street corner. That's taking my rights away. I can't opt out of that. You can't opt out of that. All for the promise of safety, as people have already stated. Community can bring you safety. That's what brings you safety, not cameras. That's not people. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Have a good night.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rachel Switchell, and I live and I work here in downtown Flint. And I'm here to state my opposition to flock cameras also. I believe that they are a danger to have here in our community. There's dangerous that they're selling the data, that it's for profit, and that our money is going towards that. I believe also that the surveillance does not keep our community safer. It is connection that does keep us safe, and that it's also an infringement on our freedoms. Overall, I don't believe that the benefits outweigh the risks to have the flat cameras here in our community. And again, I'd like to oppose that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amanda Amiel. I'm a longtime educator in Genesee County. I live in Swartz Creek. I am an organizer with PSL. I'm a legal observer with the National Lawyers Guild, and I'm a part of the amazing FAIR Coalition. I'm not going to talk about legalities or the Constitution. I'm going to talk about the message that's going to be sent if you continue to fund these cameras. You are going to send the message that you're okay working with ICE, that you will assist ICE, and that this community that's sitting here can be terrorized the way that we've all been watching on TV for way too long. So that's the message that we're gonna get. The message that ICE is gonna get, that this is a very enticing place, because you're gonna hand them the tools that they need to terrorize us. So I really hope that this board, this commission, understands that your names will be tied to this. And I don't feel like, I know a couple of your faces, but I don't know you, but I don't think you deserve to be tied to this. All of your names will be tied to, we handed them the resources and the tools to terrorize you. So I just hope you do your due diligence. Please look into these cameras, understand how they're used, understand that they will share this data with each other. They will give this to ICE. They're doing it every day. So please, please, please do your due diligence, look into this, and don't fund this any longer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alicia Trevino, and I am a longtime Genesee County resident. I currently reside in Burton, and I am here to speak against the flock camera program. I want this body to consider how our community actually benefits from increased surveillance of its residents. We don't have control over this data. Without regulations, ICE and CBP can access the sensitive data that these cameras capture, and they already have. There are reports of officers misusing and stalking previous spouses. There are reports of women seeking safe abortions being targeted. This body has a responsibility to protect the safety of Genesee County residents. We see all around the country that protesters are exercising their First Amendment rights and that they're being targeted. Immigrants are being targeted, and they're being detained regardless of status. I wasn't planning to speak today, but I wanted to appeal to you and ask you to think about what your part in this can be, its impact, its repercussions, and how you can protect those that reside here that are members of our community. We all deserve to move around our communities without being tracked. I urge you to discontinue contracts with and halt expansion of the flock camera program. Thank you.
Good evening, Clayton Johns, Flint Township. I'm writing as a concerned resident, a U.S. Air Force veteran, and a former intelligence analyst to urge you to suspend and ultimately terminate our county's contract with Flock Safety. During my military service as an intelligence analyst, I worked with surveillance systems designed for use in conflict zones and foreign intelligence environments. One lesson was consistent. Once large-scale data collection infrastructure is deployed, its use inevitably expands beyond its original justification. That reality is not just theoretical. It is operational, and it is why these tools are normally paired with strict oversight and narrow missions. When similar systems are normalized in civilian life without comparable safeguards, the risks are profound. Flock safety technology was originally presented as a limited license plate reader system. In practice, it has become a wide area vehicle tracking network that continuously collects, stores, and analyzes location data about ordinary residents who are not suspected of any crime. This data can be searched retroactively and shared across jurisdictions, enabling persistent surveillance of people's movements, associations, and here and around in Flint. The scale of this system is already significant. Based on official public records, research, including the Atlas of Surveillance, combined with community-compiled mapping from dflock.org, there are approximately 180 to 180 Flock automated license plate reader cameras operating within a roughly 25-mile radius of downtown Flint. These cameras are deployed by multiple police departments, townships, and the Genesee County Sheriff's Office, forming a dense regional network capable of tracking vehicles across jurisdictional boundaries. What is especially concerning is that this network is actively poised for expansion. Local reporting confirms proposals to add dozens more cameras, including a recent plan to significantly increase Flint's existing deployment. Similar expansion discussions are occurring in surrounding municipalities. From an intelligence perspective, this is a classic example of mission creep. A system justified for narrow purposes steadily grows until it becomes an always-on monitoring framework.
Hello, I'm Josh Bogus. I live here in Flint. I got properties in Mount Morris Township and Flint Township. Israeli, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. Why would we want Israeli cameras out and about? And to support this would almost be an act of treason, abating, foreign nations and whatnot. We do have other problems here at home. We got tax issues across the greater Genesee County all over the place, and all kinds of stuff to clean up and sweep. We got robots coming in. We got all these Chinese data centers kicking at our doors. Maybe we should just roll the rug up and work on home. Here by the end of 26, we're going to have about 420,000 robots working industrial here in the States. It's only 8% globally. That might seem minimal. That's 3 shifts. That's a lot of jobs. That's times 3. Start protecting the people.
Do we have any additional public comment? Any additional public comment? All right, public comment is closed. Thank you for those of you that came out and exercised your First Amendment rights. We're grateful for your participation in our democracy. Our next agenda item is appointments. I don't know if I should throw this to Commissioner Shoemaker or simply read the resolution. Mr. Chair, what would you prefer?
Whichever you'd prefer, Mr. Chair.
I'll defer to you.
Okay. As the commissioners remember, we had 2 appointments that we could not come to a consensus on. Moving these forward, I will start with Resolution 2026-0163, approval of 1 appointment to Bishop Airport Authority for the term expiring 12/31/28. We have a Dr. Bailey and a Mr. Tosto. So those are your two options. As we go around, again, you'll state the individual you would like, and when we get to 5, they will be on the airport authority. So if we could have a roll call, or not roll call, but a call from the clerk, that'd be great.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lloyd,
Dr. Tanya Bailey.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Dr. Bailey.
Commissioner Getzinger,
John Tosto.
Commissioner Avery,
Dr. Tanya Bailey.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
Tosto.
Commissioner Kuzno,
Tosto.
Commissioner Wayhill,
I think you skipped Dr. Brown.
Dr. Brown, sorry,
Dr. Bailey.
Commissioner Wayhill,
John Tosto.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Tosto.
There's 4 for Dr. Bailey, 5 for Tosto.
Great. Congratulations, Mr. Tosto. Dr. Bailey, I hope you'll stay in the hunt and the fight going forward. We have a lot of other commissions and boards. You are admired by many. Please know that. Mr. Shoemaker.
Resolution 2026-0164, approval of 1 appointment to the Genesee County Opioid Steering Committee, or Settlement Steering Committee, as an at-large member. The 2 candidates are Angela McQuarters and Melander. So, Jocelyn, yep. Melander, sorry.
Madam Clerk, would you call the vote?
Commissioner Lloyd,
Angela McQuarter.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Angela McQuarter.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Jocelyn Millender.
Commissioner Brown,
Angela McWhorter.
Commissioner Avery,
Angela McQuarter.
Commissioner Shoemaker, Commissioner Kuzno,
Millender.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Angela McQuarter.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Millender.
McQuarter carries with 5 votes.
All right, congratulations, Ms. McQuarter. I believe you are here. You spoke. I don't know that Ms. Millender's here, but we appreciate your interest in helping out Genesee County. And as I said to Dr. Bailey, please stay tuned for other opportunities. There's an item that isn't on the agenda that I emailed folks about that falls under appointments, and I'm just going to throw the idea out. Last week, we didn't have anyone in the category of health care and hospitals for the opioid settlement task force committee. Mr. Freeman and I took another look at the applications that were submitted, and there was one person who, in my view, has that background, wasn't listed on the initial paperwork. Lots of applicants, lots of materials, so mistakenly wasn't listed there. And I would, I would entertain a motion to reconsider posting that, and instead, Charles, Mr. Winfrey's excused, entertain a motion to reconsider posting it again and nominating Mr. Lopez to fill that position.
So move.
Support.
Moved and supported. So the motion is to reconsider what we adopted last week, which is to advertise that particular vacancy and instead appoint Mr. Lopez to that spot. Is that fair summary? Is there discussion? Mr. Shoemaker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just, as we went through that list several times, I'm not opposed to people want to place him on here. I just want to know what you saw that qualified him for the health portion of it that our staff didn't catch, and then we didn't catch when we went over it before. So I just
I'll say there was the connection to Hamilton Community Healthcare, which I believe he's on the board for. And then, what was the other piece, Josh, do you remember? Board member at Hamilton, I guess, was the key thing that tipped it. They are. Do you know Hamilton's work, Mr. Shoemaker?
Yes.
Okay. I will say that it is a very impressive application in addition to that component. But it's entirely up to a majority of this board. Is there additional discussion? Mr. Cousineau.
Coming from basically the floor, it's gonna be a 6-vote majority.
Okay. That's a good point. So our rules require a 6-vote majority to pass it. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Cousineau, for that reminder. Is there additional discussion? Mr. Shoemaker. Mhm.
I guess, like I said, if everyone wants to go with this, I don't have a problem with it. I think his application, I had him for other appointments that I voted for. My thought when we were talking healthcare was actually lived experience working in the healthcare industry. I thought sitting on a board is a little different than actually, and I take a little more homage to what I believe healthcare is because my wife is RN at Hurley. I'm very proud of the fact she works there. She's very proud of her job she does there. So I look at it when I think of someone in the healthcare side of it as someone who actually not just sits on a board, but actually when we put this together was my thought when we shaped this committee was that it would be someone who's actually saw it from the caregiver side, not just somebody who sits on a board, but actually from the side of someone who has to administer care at that point. So I don't have a problem with moving it forward, but like I said, I still think then you're gonna be lacking someone. Now, we have some people who I think are a physician on that side of it, but I don't think we have exactly what we're looking for. So, like I said, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for trying to get this done so we can move forward with this committee. I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Getzinger.
Have we already posted? We have not.
Is there additional discussion? Mr. Lloyd.
I made the motion to reconsider it because I don't have a problem reconsidering anything so that we can discuss it and such. But I tend to agree with Commissioner Shoemaker on this one in hearing the information. A lot of applications, so fresh in my mind is not the detail of what the person's qualifications are. I'm sure it's an awesome person, but having that lived experience, I agree, is different than actually sitting on the board or working vocationally in that space is different than being on the board. But anyway, that's discussion for the actual piece.
So do you want to withdraw your motion? So
No, I'll keep my motion in place to reconsider because I don't have a problem reconsidering it so folks can vote. And you won't need a supermajority to do something different. So
right.
I'm okay with it.
So is in your mind, it sounds like you're thinking of this as two motions. The first is to reconsider the posting of it.
Yeah.
That would need a
supermajority.
6 votes out of 9, well, out of 8. And then someone could offer, if that passes, someone would offer a second motion about Mr. Lopez if they desired to do so.
And it's a simple majority at that point, so I'm good with reconsidering it.
All right. Is there additional discussion on the motion to reconsider? Mr. Cousineau?
I don't have a problem with going forward, but I do agree with Mr. Shoemaker that, having worked in the healthcare industry all my life, that's how I would interpret this. But I'm willing to do this and vote for Mr. Lopez.
If I may, this is putting Mr. Freeman on the spot. This person is not going to be a member of this group, but I believe Dr. Corsi is going to be at the table helping to staff it with knowledge of from a physician's perspective. That may be helpful for us to know given what we're discussing.
I believe you guys appointed at least one nurse, maybe 2?
In a different category, there's a nurse. You're right, yeah. Ms. Hammond and possibly Mr. Gross are nurses, but in a different category. Okay. Additional discussion, Mr. Shoemaker?
Sorry, I know it's a board meeting and we're supposed to only get 2 times. We're going to follow the rules, but
That's point of information. That's not true. Our rules don't reflect that. Point of information, our rules reflect that that is subject to the chair of whatever committee is taking place at the time. Point of information, so that if I'm chairing government ops, if board members speak 2 times, that's up to my sole discretion as the chair. The way that our board, our bylaws read, if you're chairing the committee, it's at your sole discretion. So there is no rule that suggests that people can only talk 2 times. That's up to the discretion of the chair of that committee or the board meeting. So I just want to be clear, just as a point of information.
Is that what you were asking about? I didn't hear what you said.
No, I was going to say something else, but well, this is a
Oh, I
great
see.
dialogue. So
Okay, I'll, Mr. Kuzino.
Having asked corporate counsel to research that quite extensively, Mr. Lloyd is correct. So whoever the chair is at the time, it's up to their discretion.
Right.
Chair of committee to clarify, or chair of the board?
It's the chair of the committee, the way I wrote.
Trouble, because it's my committee, so.
I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's the chair.
I want to add some levity there. So.
I think it's the chair of the meeting in question that is going on at the time.
Yes.
So that would be me.
That could be scary.
So that said, Commissioner Shoemaker, would you like the floor again?
I would just like to, like I said, I'm a little frustrated because the fact is we went to all the time and trouble, extra meetings, to make sure we had people in each of these positions, to make sure they were so specific that we were filling each one. And it was a lot of work on our staff's behalf, on our committee's behalf, with the chair. So like I said, I guess if we're not gonna stick to what we say, and we want to find loopholes because we have this other person there. Well, they didn't get appointed to be the health portion. They got appointed to be another position, at large or whatever else like that. So I guess that's where I'm at. I just look at it that way. I like the fact that we went to the trouble of laying out these areas we wanted people in because we thought it was important, and we're nominating from that. But what's the point of putting those positions in place if we're just going to put everybody on there in any area they want? So thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mr. Shoemaker. Is there additional discussion? So the motion is to reconsider posting it or advertising this particular role. All those in favor of reconsidering, please say aye.
Chair?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Flewelling, I didn't see.
A yes vote will reconsider and pull the reposting out.
Yeah, a yes vote will.
We'll continue with the posting.
Correct.
Okay.
A no vote would continue or would have Mr. Freeman and I think Human Resources post it. And a yes vote would be to reconsider it and presumably act on Mr. Lopez's application. So all those in favor of reconsidering, please say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
No.
Madam Clerk, would you do a roll call vote so we know where we stand? So again, a yes vote is to reconsider, a no vote is to let the post go up, and I believe we need 6 in order to reconsider based on parliamentary procedure.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yes, to reconsider.
Commissioner Getzinger,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
No.
Commissioner Kuzino,
Yes.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelling.
No.
Five yeses.
Okay, motion is defeated, which means that we will continue to post this particular role, or we will go ahead and post it. Thank you for the good discussion, everyone, and for indulging me for that candidate. All right, next item is reports of standing committees. We do not have anything under Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Brown, do you have any report?
Chair.
All right, no report for Community and Economic Development, Finance Committee. Mr. Kuzino, do you have anything?
Nothing at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Under Governmental Operations Committee, Commissioner Lloyd is the chair, Commissioner Shoemaker is the vice chair. Commissioner Lloyd.
Mr. Chair, for our consideration, 2 resolutions tonight. Resolution 220-25-2778, approval of a grant award from Region 3 Homeland Security Planning Board, an amount of $30,000 to provide for the renewal of services for 10 existing flock cameras. The budget for this agreement is a part of our package. And our resolution 2025-2833, approval of a purchase order to Flock, an amount not to exceed $60,000 to renew the services for hardware and software products for 20 Flock Safety Falcon cameras. The term of the coverage is from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026,
Are you moving them for discussion purposes?
for discussion purposes.
Is there a second?
Support.
Moved and supported for discussion
Just for clarification, you move both of them, correct?
Yes, together.
simultaneously. Yeah, both both resolutions, excuse me, have been put on the floor with a motion and a second. What is your pleasure on how to proceed? This was originally called as a study session, so for the public, we occasionally have what we call study sessions where they're less formal than this. Usually they don't involve items that are formal resolutions, so that's why this is taking on a more formal setting. The study sessions, when they're posted, are always open to the public. You're welcome to come. They're posted on the county website and I think probably other places. Normally, we'd have someone come up and make a presentation, but what is your pleasure, Mr. Lloyd?
I would suggest, I don't know if
I
someone's
think
here from
Captain
the-
Murphy's here.
I don't know if Captain Murphy wants to speak to it, and then maybe we'll open it
Questions
for
and
dis-
answers?
Yes, sir.
Captain Murphy, and you don't necessarily have to speak or give a presentation, there might just be questions. You'll want to raise that podium. That's the best thing we bought for this whole building. All right, Mr. Lloyd, as chair, I'll let you lead questioning or comment if you want to. And Captain Murphy, if you'd introduce yourself for the audience and people at home.
Yeah, Captain Jason Murphy with the Office of Genesee County Sheriff. First, I'd like to say, we appreciate and we respect the concerns from the citizens, and we appreciate them coming out and voicing their opinion, and want to thank the board for taking this matter so serious.
All right. Mr. Lloyd?
All right, any discussion? Well, actually,
So
it's
I'll,
been moved, there's no support.
yeah, I just want to know, I'm deferring to you as the first person to ask questions or comment, if you wish.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, then I'll just call on others as they raise their hands. Commissioner Flewelling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Captain Murphy, it's my understanding that a large portion of these $60,000 is for services already rendered, going back to October 1st?
Correct, I believe it was voted on and approved in October. One of these is to accept a grant
Right.
to pay for some of them, and the other one is to pay the PO.
Okay.
Do we have additional questions? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Well, to start with, I'm the one that brought this up because I was concerned with not what our deputies were doing with it, but the fact is the security of it and the links and where the data is being taken from, and or not taken from. It depends where you look at it. This week I've received with a lot of emails and phone calls, pro and con. I received one of a senior citizen that was lost and they found him because of the cameras. But I've also received a lot of people that are very adverse to the cameras. I would like to first start to hear if, one, we need to think of as a board, do you take the grant to pay what you already have? And then you can put a motion forward if you don't want to continue with Flock. That would be something you would choose to do as a board. But at least we could pay for what we have used, so we're not using taxpayer dollars that didn't come from the Fed to do this. That's another discussion we'll have after, if it's okay with the chair, after we have this discussion. There are some residents that stated they'd like to hear how much it would affect you guys to not have these, how many arrests were made, and I don't know if you're able to do that tonight. It's a lot to ask from there.
To be honest, I don't have exact numbers, but it's a valuable tool. We've used them to locate homicide suspects, like you said, missing elderly people with dementia, runaways that maybe stole mom and dad's car, human trafficking suspects, the list goes on. It's a valuable tool that we need.
As far as mine, if we could get our head of IT, Mike, could you come up also, would that be all right?
Mike, would you identify yourself for us?
Mike DeWeesha, Chief Information Officer.
Mr. Shoemaker?
Thank
If
you.
I may also ask James to join us. He did the research.
Okay.
All right, if you would also identify yourself, and then Mr. Shoemaker has the floor.
James, sir, I'm the Chief Information Security Officer for Genesee County.
What I had asked is I didn't ask their department to look into the security of where's this data being stored, how's it being shared, or if it is being shared. And then we had a nice long meeting, and also we've discussed some policy which we'll be bringing forward to address how we handle future contracts with software companies and hardware companies that have our residents and our employees' data. But Mike and his team actually had a conversation with Flock yesterday, I believe you told me, and if you would kind of fill the board in kind of to what I was concerned with and what you found out, and then what you found out in addition to that.
Yep. First, thank you so much for doing that change, that shift in our involvement with future endeavors. It's really important, and it's a great advance for the county. I'll ask James to fill you in on the details with Flock.
Would you raise the podium a bit, if you don't mind?
Okay, can you hear me better?
Thank you. Yep, I think so.
Sorry. All right, so we were asked last week to make contact with Flock, do an internal investigation, do a cybersecurity assessment as kind of where Commissioner Shoemaker's questions unveiled. So as part of our daily routine, any kind of software requests, we do go out and review with vendors, see what security practices they have in place, especially if they're using county data in any way. So we set up a meeting due to the time frame of this. We just decided to get on a Zoom call and make this as quick as possible to get some information moving. With that being said, it was not a full, exhaustive research, so there may still be remaining questions. I just want to caveat my comments here. Based on a cybersecurity assessment, they are AWS hosted, which is Amazon Web Services. That is, they get SOC audited, a SOC 2 Type 2, which means that their internal controls that they publish and say that they are following, they have a positive response to that. We have been given a copy of their SOC report. I've not been able to fully read it. It is a long document due to the time frame. We just received it yesterday. But the brief lines is that they are following the rules that they say. So we, yes, so basic cybersecurity assessment, they are following the practices that they do say. They do not sell the data. I think that was one of the questions. And they maintain it within the United States. The program itself does have sharing capabilities between law enforcement agencies, so any member of Flock is able to initiate requests between them. We, on the cybersecurity side, we have not looked into that. That'd be more the administrative side of it that the Sheriff's Office handles. Are there any questions specifically?
Do we have questions? Mr. Shoemaker.
I'd received a couple emails this week, just one concerned with the connection, not, from our side, yes, we do multi-factor authentication, I'm sure, to get in there, to get in our system, but somewhere in between their server with Amazon, which is one of these big server farms that everybody hates, so everyone understands, there's a lot of data there, and ours, they're concerned with that line being secure in between there. Could you explain how that's done, or if it is?
The Flock system is fairly self-contained on their side. So they manage the cameras. They are cellular devices, so they get an encrypted connection to the internet, and then they transmit their data directly to the Amazon Center. They have a portal that the Sheriff's Office is able to access to then download or view any of the information in that center. None of the data from the cameras goes through the county's network, only at the end, if we were to download it or along those lines.
Okay. If I may,
Commissioner.
My next concern is what would be, from the Sheriff's Department side, what would be the consequence if we were to cancel this agreement? One, we're going to have to obviously pay back what we've used so far. Two, there's probably 40 other reasons, and I'm not sure you're prepared to speak on all those, but if you could just give this board an overview of what that would look like for you guys.
I mean, the main reason would be, in our opinion, the community and tracking down homicide suspects, stolen vehicles, missing people. That's what we use it for. We're not trying to surveil innocent people. There's no facial recognition on these cameras. We do not share it with federal agencies. I know ICE has been brought up multiple times.
Let him speak. He has the floor.
We do not share it with ICE or any other federal agency.
With that,
Commissioner
reading
Getzinger, you're recognized.
It says that private customers do not have access, but it sounds like any agency, police agency, for example, does. So my concern a little bit is yeah, we could be very aggressive by controlling it, but if any agency, any public agency, the way it sounds, can access it, where's the security there?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about with public agencies. We don't share it with any public agencies. We share it with other law enforcement. We'll share it with Flint, Michigan State Police, local police agencies within the state of Michigan. We share it with them, they share it with us. If they don't share it, if they have a camera and don't share it with us, we don't share with them.
Mr. Chair.
I want to make sure, Commissioner Getzinger, are you complete for now? So Commissioner Flewelling.
Captain Murphy, how many total cameras do you currently employ?
Through the sheriff's office, we have 30.
You have 30. Without specifics, what location, how many are in the city of Flint right now, of your cameras?
I don't have that exact number. They're spread out throughout the entire county, through our contract areas all over.
Okay, so they're in your contracted areas?
Yes.
Atlas, Vienna, places like that?
Correct.
So your local municipalities, City, Davidson Township, Richfield, they all have their own contracts?
Some of them do, and some of our cameras may be in their areas as well.
Okay. So even if you were to pull all 30 cameras out, they're still there?
They're still there.
Is there additional discussion? Commissioner Brown.
I want to try to make sure I understand that we are obligated for a contract. We're contractually obligated to pay for services rendered from October of last year, correct?
Yeah, that's the way I take it, yes, based on what Tyler told me.
Okay. And so I echo the same question that Commissioner Shoemaker had earlier about what our liability might be should we decide to default on that contract.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see if there's a penalty. We'd probably just have to pay what we owe at this point.
Commissioner, I want to make sure Commissioner Brown, she has the floor.
I don't have any more questions right now. I'm just kind of processing.
So I saw Commissioner Cousineau first, and then you, Mr. Lloyd.
You have the contracts with the different municipalities, so I assume that before you put those up, you had permission from those various entities such as Vienna, Fenton, and Atlas. So we don't really have a say in that. We're just a pass-through.
As far as where they're located?
Yeah.
Well, we wanted the cameras. We requested the cameras, and then we got permission from them to put those in the locations they're in.
Okay, and then the grants, who are they written to? Are they written to us?
Yes, and one's through
The
GAIN
county, and then we turn it over to the sheriff's department?
and one's through the auto theft, our GAIN auto theft division.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Mr. Chair, so my question is, so I'm saying October 1st, so we haven't signed, have we already signed the contract?
It was pointed to me that in October, we approved that and it went through for the flock cameras to be extended.
So this
And I could be wrong. I don't know if Josh can help me on that one.
Yeah, I think we did. Commissioner Lloyd, I think this is just to approve accepting the grants and
So-
paying the invoice that we already approved in October.
So, 2833, item number 2, says approval of a purchase order to Flock in amount not to exceed 60,000, blah, 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 to renew the services for the hardware and software products. The hardware and software products. So I guess, I'm a little confused, so I just wanna, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, if we've already signed, entering into an agreement with Flock already. And to what my colleague just said, I see the item number one, that's the grant. I'm clear on that. That's 30,000. But the second one, I just want to know if we're already obligated to a termed agreement that began in October 1st or whatever.
Yes, we would be because we signed that contract.
But the contract is already signed.
Correct.
So so what is, Ms. Freeman, you help us out?
Yeah.
Mr. Freeman.
Resolution 2024-1311 would have approved the contract for October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, the end of the fiscal year. For this fiscal year, they are now just bringing you the next one-year extension that started October 1st, according to the information that I have here in front of me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we didn't sign an agreement for October 1, 2025 through September.
I do not see where this board has approved an agreement yet for this fiscal year.
Okay, so here's the follow-up question to that. In the contract for the 2024 through 2025, October 1, was it anything in that contract that spoke to automatic extensions? You know, we have to give them some notification if we're not going to renew, those kinds of things. I just want to understand if by not taking action by October 1, if there's something in that agreement that has already committed us for this next term.
Yeah, I would direct that question to legal on that, for that, and he's probably going to need some time to review that one. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him, so.
And the reason why I'd like to know that is because I think it'd be important to know if we're already in an agreement, right? And if we are, because maybe we needed to give 90 days notice if weren't going to extend or whatever case may be, you understand. If we're already committed by language of the last contract, then that certainly impacts my vote because we're already locked in, right? So I think that's a very important question for those who are considering, at least for me, what I'm going to do. Do we have access to that contract, the last contract?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Flewelling.
Captain Murphy, has there been any interruption in service?
No, there has not.
So I think it's important for corporate counsel, maybe purchasing, to figure out if we are under contract right now. Because if we're not under contract, why would they still be operating?
Were you finished, Mr. Lloyd?
Finished at this time.
For now.
Mr. Friedman, you're looking at it right now, so.
Yeah, it's an 18-page contract, so I would want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask
I would want to.
So we got multiple folks here. Let's, Commissioner Brown, I didn't see you earlier, and I'm going to defer to you now.
Thank you. Can you, Captain Murphy, can you give us an update or image about what law enforcement will look like for the sheriff's office without this tool in your toolbox?
Yeah, so just like we had a homicide, say in Fenton Township, 2-3. We had a description of a vehicle from a neighbor that may or may not have been involved. We put that in. We were able to, 2 miles down the road, get a license plate, track on that, found that out, and it was the suspect. We were able to determine that. It's definitely going to slow us down without this tool.
So in that situation that you just mentioned, there was a citizen that reported the vehicle, the color and make.
Just the make and the color, correct.
Okay. And the flock allowed you to pinpoint that vehicle quickly?
Yep, so we put in a description that they gave us, whatever the color and the type of vehicle, we put that in, and it went to our flock cameras. By that, it took a picture of this one, and it had a license plate attached. We were able to track that license plate down. We made contact with the suspect, and he's been charged, or going through circuit court right now for that.
Okay. And so if we were to go old school, it would be, I'm assuming, a community of law enforcement folks who would be looking for that vehicle.
Absolutely, in the same way, we would go door to door just like we did, but nobody else saw that vehicle except for the and this vehicle was actually located after in Detroit. It was a suspect out of Detroit. So it would definitely have been hard to get that license plate without the camera.
Okay. And one more follow-up with that. So without the flocks here in Genesee County, did I hear you say that the reciprocity would not exist with other municipalities that might have it?
Correct. If we're not going to share ours with them, they won't share it with us. You can, if you're an agency and you don't have cameras, you can have access to look at, share that information, get it from other people, but you still have to pay the licensing fees, and it's almost the same price as having cameras or not.
But we could effectively do the job, we just wouldn't be able to do it as efficiently.
Correct, and to be honest, on that situation I gave you, it'd be very hard to get that license plate and track that suspect down if we only had a color and a description of the vehicle by one person.
Thank you.
Oh, we got the floor up here, please. So Commissioner Shoemaker, you were trying to get my attention, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is, one, as far as the grant for this, as far as the first resolution, is there a date that the grant expires then? Do we know?
The grant went through the
Yeah.
sheriff's office, so I can't speak to
I'm
that.
sure there is. I don't know what the date is offhand.
I'm going to ask this as somebody who's been heckled here before. Please reserve your comments if you're in the audience. We had public comment. Just to be respectful of people. They're doing their job. As I asked for at the beginning of the meeting, we prayed. Let's have empathy for other people. Let's try to understand what they're doing, what they're going through, where they're at. I'm just asking that. And if not, and you want to continue to be loud, this is board's, it'll be up to the chair, but we can remove people also. I don't want to see that, but we're trying to dig to the bottom of this and find out. And by causing pressure on other people, that's not going to help us get to the bottom of what we need to figure out. So, thank you to you all. I appreciate your respect so far, but let's just continue it. I just would like to know, like I said, I don't want to have to take it out of the general fund or something else to pay for this on top of it, but I know these things.
So
moving
for the one
forward.
with, the first one, that's a grant through the
Homeland Security.
Security. That one's total grant. The other one is through the GAIN auto theft. I think they pay, the auto theft, the grant pays 37%, and we're 63 or 67 and right in there. And that's already been, per Tyler, set aside for us, and it is out of the general fund to cover our end.
And so I remember the GAIN program's a state program.
That's our auto theft.
Yeah, it's the state one though?
Yeah,
It's a state
use,
grant we get
yeah,
early in the
have
year?
7 other agencies
Yeah,
that are involved with
okay,
that.
thank you.
Do we have additional discussion? Commissioner Avery?
Yeah, so just for clarity for some of the concerns, Major, is there like documentation or a log about inquiries from the flock camera?
Correct, there's an audit list that's kept.
And that will give the indication of who's asking and
Correct.
would share?
And when you search, there's reasons for it. You put in a little drop box, criminal, homicide, missing person, stolen vehicle. And then you put in who's putting it in, and then how many days you want it in the cycle.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Additional discussion? Are you have more, Mr. Avery? Okay. Commissioner Lloyd? I'm sorry, Commissioner Flewelling.
Thank you, sir. Captain Murphy, now that he asked that, would the flock audit be similar to a lien audit? Where you have to justify every request, every search?
Correct, and it would say who searched at the time, the date, and the reason.
Okay, and that's both directions?
Yes.
Request to you and request from you?
For sure, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Additional discussion? Commissioner Lloyd?
I'll defer to Commissioner Shoemaker if he wants to speak, because I'm really trying to give Corporation Counsel time to continue. It appears he's still reviewing, so I'll defer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, if I may. My original concern was not our staff or local municipalities that we work with here. My concern is it secure enough that other people can't get into the system, access it, and use it against our citizens? That's my main goal. Two, with the world we're headed to with AI, the more access AI has to these things, and AI will become a part of this whether they want to believe it or not, and it probably already is using it when it's taking and looking for license plates all over the place. It's not a human eye probably looking at that, because if I had to use mine, we wouldn't find it anyways. But the fact is how long before it could be weaponized, or has it been weaponized? And that's the question we got to ask. I'm probably opposite of a lot of these people as far as what I think it should be used for, could be used for, who could be used with. But my fear is, and I've said this before, is I don't want to see a big brother state. And the problem is are you willing to give up our freedoms for just the littlest bit of security? It's like after 9/11, I was very frustrated because yes, we had been attacked and I wanted to see things done, but we gave up so many freedoms to get a few things.
Yep.
And we've seen how that works for us through history. Pick up your history book. It's there. That's why I'm a little scared. I do see, though, the benefit. If it was my child taken, man, I want you to find him as fast as you can, whatever it means you can. So it's a very slippery slope. And I was hoping to find a way that we can guarantee that our residents in Genesee County, their data and their information is secure. And I don't know if we can generally do that. I think our staff will do it. I think we have checks and balances in place. I'm just very concerned with once it leaves our hands and it gets into Flock or third-party actors or this AI piece that's out there that, guess what, the next attack, you know, we see the Terminator, we think that's what it is. It's not going to be. It's going to be AI attacking our systems, attacking our lives, looking for us. It's not going to be somebody showing up, you know, in a Elon Musk droid or whatever he calls them. It's going to be the fact that, guess what, they're going to hit our food supply, they're going to hit our energy supply, and that's what it is. And this is just a tool that somebody could use to, let's say you do have a nefarious group that wants to do something and attack an individual. If they can get access to this, and this was my fear, what damage could they do to this individual? Could they find them? Could they, you know, and that's what I'm concerned with. On the other side, I'm also concerned with the fact is, guess what? I do understand that an 83-year-old man was lost, and guess what? They found him. So it's tough for us, and I appreciate everybody's patience with us. We're just trying to weigh all the decisions. I am especially, it's very important to me. I am more of to the line of, and I've mentioned this a few years back when the undersheriff was here, and he assured me it wasn't a big state. But I still am concerned with the fact is, I don't like the fact that your phone's tracking you all the time. To enter an agreement, they are. But these are things we give up to have a phone. The question we have to ask ourselves as a board, are we willing to give up these freedoms for our residents to have the access to this to help a few others? And that's the question we have to answer on top of finding out if we are in a contract. So I don't know if Brian, how you coming?
All right. It's never a good idea to offer a legal opinion on the spot, is my sense, but I'm going to ask the Corporation Counsel to say a few words for us.
What was the question? Was there an automatic renewal?
Yes, the question is, did the contract for 2024 through 2025, did it automatically renew based on the terms of the contract without board action?
Yes. It requires, let me find it again. Following the initial term, unless otherwise indicated on the order form, this agreement will automatically renew for successive renewal terms for the length set forth on the order form, unless either party gives the other party notice of non-renewal at least 30 days prior to the end of the then current term. So I don't know of any notice that was given to terminate the contract, so it automatically renewed, and we are currently in the new renewal period.
One follow-up question. Thank you for researching that for us, you and Mr. Freeman. How long is the renewal term? Is it 1 year or 2 years? What is it?
What I'm looking at in this contract from 2024, it says, so we had the contract from 2022 to 23, 23 to 24. That initial term was a 24-month term. 24 to 25, it's showing me right here, the initial term is 12 months. and the renewal term is 24 months.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at.
So with that said, thank you both for researching that information. So with that said, we are already in another 24-month agreement. 4 months have passed now, October, November, December, January. And so we are 4 months into a 24-month agreement without action. It didn't require action of the board for it to renew. And so with that said, I think that the appropriate action for us is two things. Number one, we're already under the agreement, which means we have to pay for the agreement. And the first resolution that's before us, 2025-2778, is the acceptance of a grant award from the Homeland Security Planning Board in the amount of $30,000 to help pay for that agreement. So I think, we're in agreement, so we have to pay for the agreement. So I think I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to withdraw my original motion. The person who supported does not need to say they support withdrawing it because it was my motion. So I withdraw my motion. My motion at this time.
I'm not going to fight you on that.
Yes, sir. My motion at this time is to move the approval of accepting the grant award so that we can pay for the contract we're already in, again, that didn't, that automatically renewed. So we have to pay for it. So my motion is to move approval of the grant, accepting the grant.
It's been moved and supported. That would be Resolution 2025-2778. Is there discussion on the new motion? Mr. Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My only concern would be is we approve this, and then the board moves forward with canceling the contract. Because the contract's with Flock, the grant is from Homeland Security. Is there a penalty for cancellation and we have to pay back the grant anyways? I'm just trying to understand everything beforehand. And it's a lot of information we're asking for tonight, and I realize that's a lot in Corporation Council. I don't expect everything tonight, so it's a broader spectrum of questions than we've covered before with this. Every grant is unique in how it is delivered and what the requirements are to secure the funds, keep the funds, or you have to pay them back. And sometimes there's penalty, and I just don't want to see a penalty later on if we accept the grant and then we were to cancel the program. So like I said, like to understand that later before being asked to vote. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree if we're going to get billed for it, we should pay for it without taking general fund dollars. But I just don't want to take more general fund dollars if this board's pleasure is to cancel the contract with the camera provider, and then we have to pay a fine or penalty.
Corporation Counsel, are you trying to respond to Commissioner Shoemaker?
I'm going to need more time to get you a full answer, but I can read you what the contract says here. And we are able to terminate for convenience. It says termination for convenience will result in a one-time fee of $500 per Flock hardware. So I believe that's per camera. We also will remain liable to pay the full outstanding fees for any product that we've used. My understanding, we've been using them since October 1st. So we can terminate, but there are costs involved with that. That is separate from the grant and what the grant would say about using the funds. And it's my understanding that there's 20 cameras that may be paid for with a grant, and there's 10 cameras that are paid differently.
10 are paid by the grant for Homeland Security.
Okay.
The other 20 are through the gain auto theft, so it's split up 67, 33 right in there, right in there.
So there's a lot of research that needs to be done on this to get you a complete answer. But we can get out of it. We can get out of this contract, but how the grant agreements relate to that is up to, I've got to figure that out.
Commissioner Lloyd?
I'm going to withdraw the last motion that I made again and just make a motion to postpone it. I was trying to find a way to, because we postponed it already to get to where you understand. But why don't we just postpone this It's been great discussion. I think it's amazing that the public has come out and shared their sentiment on both sides of this from different perspectives and lenses, and it's been a very, very helpful discussion. So my motion is to postpone this. Let's postpone it 30 days.
Do you want to postpone it to the Governmental Operations Committee meeting in March?
Yes.
Because the next one is next week, which may be too
Let's-
soon.
Let's postpone it till then. We already know where we are with the contract. We're in it at this time. We know that we are on the hook, if you will, for the time from October till now. So we know we have to pay that bill. So that gives us time to work through the grant questions, work through what do we currently owe them, and then be able to discuss when we come back if we want to move forward or not. So I think that's
Clarification, Mr. Lloyd, before I ask for a second, is your motion to postpone on just the single resolution or both of these?
I think, if I may.
You may.
If we accept the grant, well, no, let's postpone both.
Is there support?
I'll
So they've got support. Discussion, Mr. Shoemaker, and then Mr. Flewelling.
Could we, before that date, make sure that we're not gonna lose out on the grant, that there's a deadline that we have to accept it by? And if it is, move it up? That's the only,
We could reconsider next week if we find out between them something crucial. That would be the next committee meeting.
thank you,
So you could have a motion to reconsider the postponement.
thank you.
Mr. Flewelling.
Mr. Chair, if I may, can I get have the emergency manager come up? I've got a couple questions for him.
Sure.
The Metropolis.
Okay. If you'd identify yourself for us, and then,
Chris Metropolis, County Emergency Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With this grant from Homeland Security,
Yes.
is there a deadline for acceptance, number one?
I believe it has to be by June.
By June, okay. If we accept the grant, which would pay to September 30th, 2026, we drop the service before then, do we pay the full grant back?
Then the way that my grant works with Homeland Security is the county foots the bill. Once I get that information that the check has been cashed, I submit it up to the feds, and then they return the money to us.
Okay, so it's a reimbursement, so
Right.
either way, if we cancel the contract before the reimbursement happens, we've already spent 30,000.
Correct.
If we cancel it after we get the reimbursement, we have to pay 30,000 back.
Correct.
So it'll cost us 45,000 to cancel it.
Correct.
Okay. And now, is there anything that the grant from GAIN, is that just from their funds? Or do they have a grant that funds this?
They have their grant is 33%, and then we have to put up the rest as our.
But my question is, would we be responsible for paying back that 33%?
Correct, if we've used it.
Okay. Thank you.
is there additional discussion? The motion on the floor is to postpone resolutions 2778 and 2833 to the March governmental operations. Mr. Lloyd?
I have just another piece for discussion. So anybody that has like additional questions, my suggestion would be that we shoot those over to Corporation Counsel if it's like contract questions, and do it like sooner than later. That way he can have that research, get the information back, so that when we come back in 30 days, we'll be ready to take whatever action after whatever discussion.
Mr.
I
Flewelling?
do have one more question. With the invoicing you're receiving from Flock, is there any late fees being attached to that yet?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. If there is, let us know.
Yes, sir.
That'll add to the total. Thank you.
Is there additional discussion? So I just have a couple of questions so I have a sense of some things. Who wrote the grant?
That would have been Captain Macy.
Captain Macy. Okay, thank you. So Commissioner?
One more question. In terms of paying for the services, is that a monthly pay or is it a one-time pay for the year? What does that look like? Because we're already at 4 months, right? So I'm just curious, has there already, I'm assuming they haven't been paid anything, right? So I'm just curious if, I'll take it off the line again. If we need to bring it before then, we can do that, I guess. I'm all set.
So one of the suggestions I was going to make is that perhaps the chair and vice chair of government ops could meet with the attorney, in the coming days. And as long as we don't have a quorum, you're fine. And anyone else who has a special interest in this could join, as long as we don't get a quorum, just to bird dog all of this, because there's a lot to it.
Sure.
So Captain Macy wrote the grant. When I look at the expectations of Homeland Security in the grant agreement, it talks about responding to acts of terrorism. It doesn't mention anything about traditional crime fighting. There's a lot in here about terrorism, mitigating the potential of terrorism, gathering intelligence to thwart terrorism. I'm not a fan of terrorism, let me say that. But it's a little bit different than what I'm hearing in terms of how we actually use the cameras. And then there's an entire section in here that says, the information gathered from this equipment can assist law enforcement in effectively and appropriately sharing relevant, timely, and actionable information analysis with local, state, tribal, territorial, federal, private sector, international partners. This project can be claimed as LETPA, I'm not sure what that acronym is, as it addresses the core capability of, quote, intelligence and information sharing within the National Prevention Framework. So I don't know what a lot of that means, and I am hoping that between now and March, we can take a look at that. Do you have any sense of what that means, Captain Murphy?
I do want to say on that, I thought we were still talking about the GAIN contract. I think the Homeland Security, he wrote that one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and as far as, the capabilities of sharing it with all of those, there are some other agencies may share with federal, they may. We do not.
I heard you say that earlier, and I'm grateful for that answer. So let's see. The other question I had was on this contract that was mentioned that we're still part of. Corporation Counsel, does the contract with Flock apply to the 10 cameras and the 20 cameras?
I would think so, because they're all the Flock, I think they're all the Flock Falcon cameras.
So you don't have to opine on it. Let's put that question on the list. I want to make sure that that contract that we're speaking of applies to both of these groups of cameras and instead of just one of them. So I'm going to stop there, given we're going to meet again. Appreciate your professionalism, gentlemen, on the IT side and on the public safety side, and of course the public for being here. Know that officially we will take this up publicly at the March. Do you have a date, Josh? We'll give you the date in a second. It'll be the first committee meeting, or the only committee meetings in March. And we have a governmental operations next week. Only if there's some sort of a emergency related to this will we put it on that agenda. But that's also a public agenda, which you can find online. So it's 11th of March. We'll meet again in this room at 5:30 to take up this question. Do we have additional discussion on the motion to postpone? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One nay. The motion is passed. Under Human Services Committee, Mr. Winfrey has had to leave. Mr. Avery, is there anything for tonight? No report. Always a model of efficiency. Public Works Committee, Mr. Flewelling and Mr. Avery. No report. Anything tonight? No report. Under New and Miscellaneous Business, we have item 1, 26-075, Plant Moran prescription drug coverage. I think our consultants from Plant Moran are approaching, and Anita's coming forward. If you would identify yourselves for the record, and we will proceed from there.
Jonathan Trianfi from Plant Moran.
Claudia Hermes from Plant Moran.
Anita Galita, HR Director.
All right, welcome. Commissioners, how would you like to proceed? So there was a presentation last week by the gentleman in front of us from Plant Moran, which I think is maybe being passed out. It was also in the packet tonight. Commissioner Shoemaker?
I will kick this show off. Let everything get handed out here. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. As I spoke of last time, you were here. I don't think this, did we get your name yet? I'm sorry.
It was Claudia Hermes from Plant Moran.
Claudia, okay. We've got a lot of concern because we've been through this before, of what we can and cannot do with certain groups, retirees and others we can. Are we, to start the question off, which group are we speaking of switching? All retirees?
No, not all retirees. So this would only be the retirees that are not receiving prescription drugs effectively through their Medicare coverage. So there's a certain segment, about 1,000, it's either the retiree or their covered spouse or a covered family member. There's about 1,000 of retirees that would get their prescription drug coverage as part of their Medicare coverage. And so those folks would still stay with Express Scripts. It's through a program called an Employer Group Waiver Plan, or an EGWIP. That is staying, we are not proposing a change to that program at all. And the retirees that mirror the actives. What's that?
Mr. Shoemaker?
Forgive me, I didn't understand that. I'm sorry.
All right, sounds like you need to say it.
So let me ask this clearly. The group of retirees that took legal action against us last time, are we changing their insurance as far as their prescriptions? And I believe that's, yes.
Coverage is not changing. So to answer the first question about the group of retirees, there's multiple groups of retirees.
Yes.
There is a group of retirees that they retired under language that says their coverage mirrors the actives. They're already scheduled to move 6/1 because of that language. There's a group of retirees, either 65 and older or otherwise Medicare eligible. They will not change. There are only certain prescription coverage providers that offer a plan that works with Medicare. So Express Scripts is one of them. They will stay with Express Scripts if they have Medicare. So it's only the group of retirees that don't change with actives and are not on Medicare. The difference this time is we're not changing the plan. The copays would not increase, out-of-pocket costs will not increase. This is just changing the provider. So when the county started, we had the Blue Cross and Health Plus plans, and our prescription coverage was through each of those medical plans. At the point that we went self-insured with Blue Cross, we carved out the prescription coverage and then went with Express Scripts. We can change the provider, we just don't want to change the plans. Plant Moran's proposal, as you'll see it tonight, and I think we did touch on it last week as well, there is a change in plans for some. Either their copays will stay the same costs that they've had, or it will be improved. Because over the years of contracts, we've ended up with multiple retiree plans, and it's actually costing more to maintain those plans rather than just to condense them, improve some retirees' prescription copay amounts, and still save money in doing that. So their prescription copay amounts will stay the same or be lower. We're only changing who's covering just like we changed Blue Cross or Health Plus or HAP from covering our prescriptions. It would be Express Scripts, and now it would be Smith RX.
Commissioner.
I'm trying to understand because, you know, they're very concerned. One, I said it a while ago, I hate that this is last minute because there was no it does, and the residents brought that up. And I got the notification during the meeting that we didn't do it because we had to wait for actives to approve it. But my frustration is if we knew this was a route we were heading, this should have been done last year at this time, should have been brought to us at that time. Why was it not brought to us even earlier so we could have more time? Because what really frustrates the bejeebies out of me, first is bringing me a resolution that's 3 months past due, and then things that you gotta act now. And especially when it comes to something this big that, you know, I've always said this, when you take away somebody's health, you take away everything. There's nothing gonna go right in their life from that point forward. And we are messing with people's lives. And I'm not saying that as far as whether they get to go to the movies on a Wednesday night. I mean, whether they can get out of bed, whether they can function. It's very frustrating to me that we are jammed into a month window that we got to make a decision. And so I'm trying to understand why it wasn't brought to us last year. And I'm sure there's a reason, but if you could tell me why we didn't get this to us as far as the actives, we approved, what was it, last year, at the end of last year, December, why that wasn't brought to us even sooner.
Why the actives weren't brought to you sooner? There's a process. We had to go through an RFP process. The Healthcare Coalition considered their options. They had to take that back to the union membership for a vote and then let us know how that vote went. Once we knew that there was a majority that wanted to move, we could put it on the board agenda, and that's what we did. We got it on the first agenda we could after the vote.
If I may.
Mr. Shoemaker.
One, who brought it up to the Healthcare Coalition?
Who
This
brought
might
it
be,
up?
yeah, who brought up that this might be a good idea?
This has been an ongoing discussion for several years on the coalition with Plant Moran.
Okay, so here's my frustration. If it's been an ongoing discussion, why didn't we move the discussion up to a year ago?
We did, actually. The coalition voted it down previously.
Okay.
So this is a second discussion, another year of discussion to see if they had an appetite to move.
Who's the chair of that group?
There isn't a chair.
Maybe
They
that,
all have equal seats.
maybe that might be a problem with getting things done.
No, there wasn't a delay in getting anything done. It's just a
Anita, can I
vote.
finish, please?
Sure, sorry.
Thank you. I know we're just low-life politicians up here, that's what everybody thinks, and that's what it is, but these are real decisions we get very frustrated with, and I get very frustrated with, because you bring it to us, it's a month. It's a month. There's no time to meet with people to tell them what's going on. I mean, this to me is, I want to save money, and I'm the most frugal, cheap guy probably here, you know, but the fact is you're freaking a lot of people out. And yeah, the Healthcare Coalition it's great, but if they can't understand and nobody can explain to them, because do you go to those meetings?
I do.
And somebody can't go, hey, if you don't approve this by this date, everything else we do is going to be backed up and it's going to be slow. And these are conversations that should be had. And I'm assuming you guys are going to those meetings also? And I'm not trying to say a lot, but I have voted no on your contracts before because we pay you a lot of money. And I think things get redundant. I'm just, like I said, I'm very frustrated with this because I hate the last minute thing. I can't go through, and not say line by line, but guess what, go through it enough to say what's going to be effective. Because if you say nothing, I think that's a bold-faced fallacy. And I think you guys said to us that something about negotiating with the drug companies are getting, I don't want to call it a grant, I want to call it my father has to take a heart medication pill, and the cost of this thing is through the roof, and he gets some type of subsidy like from the pharmaceutical company that gives it to him. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's a real pain in the you-know-what. And 1 month, he didn't get it, and all of a sudden, $800 out of his budget that he's stuck with as a retiree, and his is not going up. Is that what you're talking about, getting for these employees?
So there's multiple different avenues to get assistance for medications. The first is what's called a manufacturer's assistance program. That's where the drug manufacturer, through like a grant or a charitable foundation, will actually pay the entire cost of the medication, where the patient and the county's plan, neither are paying for that medication. Then there is another program called a patient assistance program. These are like if you're watching the nightly news and see advertisements for medications, you can pay as little as $5 for the medication. It's like an extra card. It's almost like supplemental insurance through the drug manufacturer to buy down what the person has to pay out of pocket as a copay. And a lot of times that might be zero. The person might get their copay covered by the drug manufacturer. So what SmithRx is doing is they're helping the member avail themselves of either of those solutions, whichever might work for them. Okay? So, for example, the manufacturer's program, that's like the grant program, a lot of times that's income-based. Not everybody's going to qualify for that based on their income. So at that point, SmithRx can direct them instead to the patient assistance program so they can still try and get that medication for $0 out of pocket.
While this new company is trying to direct these people, how long does the employee or former employee have to go without the medication while they're trying to figure this out? How long does it take to do that?
They don't. And the reason for that, you don't want people going without their medication because the cost, the medical cost associated with that would be higher than what you're saving on the prescription drug side. So that's in nobody's best interest to have somebody go without their medication. So there are grant fills, or grace fills that are provided to people going through this process so they're not out their medication. The idea here is not to help the cost of 1 or 2 fills of a medication. The idea is we want this support on an ongoing basis for a person that's on that medication for maintenance purposes, right? So it's not, if we have to pay full price for 2 fills until that process is done, that's still in everybody's best interest to do that. It's still covered. They're not paying $800. They're paying whatever their copay is under the plan that they're covered by.
So if I may, Mr. Chair, I apologize. Walk me through what this would, if this board approves this, walk me through what this looks like for our average retiree who's in their, let's just say, in their 80s, not as computer savvy, might have a flip phone. You know, what does this look like? Because this is one of my concerns is that you roll this out and somebody doesn't know how to transfer or do these things, and then guess what? They're left behind. Yes. And then I've got some other ones, but please walk me through what that's going to look like for them.
So the people that are impacted, and so going back to the presentation from last week, 86% of people, the retirees that would move, 86% of the people wouldn't have any change whatsoever, okay, other than the card that they have to carry and giving new insurance information to the pharmacies, okay? And by the way, that does create problems. People forget to give their cards, but that's a really easy fix, okay? The 14% that are impacted will be communicated with via mail, okay, multiple times. If there is action that they have to take, they will receive multiple mailings saying, this is the action that you have to take. You need to contact us, SmithRx, for support with your medication, okay? And everything's laid out in terms of the steps that they have to take. So the ask that we would have is for people to open up their mail and read it, okay? I will be the first one to admit, I myself don't always read all of my mail. So that's, if we're gonna identify risk, to me, that would be the biggest risk. If there's somebody that's impacted and ignores their mail, they could have, they could experience a disruption, or they would have to take quicker action in order to, take those steps that SmithRx is asking them to, okay, after those grace fills are done.
And you said, just real quick, just one more, just 14% is what we're looking at that are gonna be effective,
Correct.
that something's gonna change.
Something's gonna change, but remember, the copay levels aren't changing, or they're getting better. So the action that we're talking about is a drug switching from a brand to a generic, or availing yourself of one of these manufacturers or patient assistance programs or things like that. But they're not impacted in the way of reduced or curtailed benefits. Yeah, I just want to be clear.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Kuzino, then Commissioner Flewelling.
Having been involved for a number of years with changing the healthcare that we have, and working for almost 50 years now in the healthcare industry and dealing one-on-one with patients coming in and out, I know whenever you change, I understand what you're doing, and I understand the finances behind it. I understand all that and the legalities. But when you're dealing with people's lives and changing things, it's confusing as all get out. And that in itself creates a health issue. The anxiety, they can't figure it out. And as a physician, I can't frickin' figure it out when they come in my office. It takes so much time for us to help them. It's a nightmare. And I personally don't have a problem with the healthcare coalition that you've set up, and with the help that Plant Moran has helped us with in navigating through all this. But having been involved and knowing what happens to those most senior retirees, I really don't want to change anything to them. The ones that fit under the new contracts and et cetera, that's okay. But when you're dealing with those people, that age group, or that group of people, even if it saves us money, I'm not for changing it. And, I don't want to put that burden on them. And as the finance chair, if it costs us a few extra dollars, I'll figure out how to pay for it. And, as one of them said, and I hate putting it this way, but as time goes on, there's less and less of them. And, the county, in my opinion, the county's just going to have to deal with that as time goes on. And, I will support the healthcare coalition that you have that is set up. I know how that works, and I know what your job is for that, and I would like, me personally, I don't know how the rest of my fellow commissioners are going to vote or feel, but that's how I feel about it. Just leave them alone. But I hate even saying it this way, let a dead dog lie. That's not a right way. That's not politically correct, and I understand that. But you understand, just leave them alone.
So one thing I did want to, again, clarify, those most senior retirees that we're talking about, again, those folks are going to be on Medicare and would not be changed. So the majority of the retirees that are impacted by this change are going to be below the age of 65.
And there again, it depends on the contracts that they retired under. Leave them alone.
So the other thing that I think is worth mentioning is the world of pharmaceuticals is constantly changing. I know I'm preaching to the choir, right? Changes are happening within the Express Scripts contract and with medications, regardless of the logo that's on an insurance card. Drugs go from brand to generic. The PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers like Express Scripts, will change their formularies and stop covering medications. these are changes that will impact the retirees irrespective of who's on the, what logo's on the card. So just to kind of frame that, like some of those things that could cause confusion, we're gonna deal with those things if we change or if we stay the same. And those are the things that hit Anita's office, and on occasion make their way to our office to try and help with those things. And by the way, that has a real life impact on people when those changes happen and they're dictated by the PBM instead of by a decision that's made by this body.
A lot of what we're dealing with, it's problems that we, at the local level, we're dealing with that's really a national issue.
Yes.
And if they would just take action at the national issue level, a lot of this stuff would go away.
Actually,
And I understand that. But we have to deal with what we have here.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I feel strongly about what I just said, you know, because I understand what they're going through. And I understand they're going to deal with things one way or the other. I take a couple of medications myself, and once in a while things change. I don't like it. Just the way life is.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually have several, if I may. I had several, and then this handy booklet brought up a couple more. First of all, drug companies do, and healthcare companies do deny prescriptions. They do deny refills. Happens every day. Even Blue Cross does it.
yes.
Did it to me recently, so this place probably isn't exempt from that. Did you look into the Clear Network planned by Express Scripts?
No, so that's a good question. So the reason that we didn't is that Express Scripts, they're one of the 3 largest PBMs in the country, other 2 being Optum and CVS Caremark. Those organizations typically only work with the largest employers directly, okay? The county accesses Express Scripts through another third party called RX Benefits. Okay? They actually, RX Benefits contracts with the largest 3 PBMs, so mid-market or middle-sized employers can access those PBMs, okay? The Clear Network solution is a solution that is accessed directly through Express Scripts.
Okay, so they told you no?
Effectively, yes.
Okay. How much money will this save the county every year?
So it will save $360,000 based on the medications that were being taken at the time that we did the analysis. And the reason I say that is the chances of that drug mix being exactly the same today and next year is 0%. So
360.
It's
Okay.
based on the actual medications that people are taking, and that's going to change over time.
360,000, okay. Well, we approved more than that in a month on conferences, so thank you. Question, you guys can't answer this, but if you do save $360,000, is that going to be applied directly to pension and OPEB unfunded liabilities? You guys can't answer it. Maybe Crystal can. I don't know. She's not here, and that's another issue, right? So moving on from that, 14% may have to apply for assistance, right?
Yes.
How many do now?
0.
Okay.
Sorry, just to clarify, the 14% isn't the number of retirees that have to apply for assistance. They don't have to apply for assistance. Smith RX actually walks them through it, but that is also people that experience different change. Maybe it's a different medication or a different
Well, I understand all
pharmacy.
that. I'm just saying, how
Okay.
many do now currently? I mean, is there a percentage that do now? Because I know
That
my,
apply for assistance?
yeah, my mother had to, and it is a nightmare.
Yes, if retirees wanted to apply for assistance now, they would have to do it on their own, much like you're saying your mother has to, or Commissioner Shoemaker's family member had to. Smith RX actually looks for those programs and reaches out and helps them do that application.
But we don't have a high number that do now.
We don't track it because Express Scripts doesn't offer the assistance.
Okay, thank you. Did anybody, and I think we might have discussed this already, did anybody meet with the retirees? Was there a sit-down, because I'm looking at this book that says member education, November 2025, and here we are, February 2026. So I'd just like to know if there was meetings held with these affected parties.
those are some of the materials that were presented to the active employees that we would then also present. But those materials were presented after the decision was already made.
Okay. So, here's a couple. Some retirees may pay a different amount for their medication. Some retirees might have to switch brands. What happens when the brand they have to switch to, they can't take?
So there is an override process. If there is a clinical reason that somebody can't take the preferred brand, there is a process to clinically approve them for the brand that they can take.
And again, that's a process.
And
Those
that's
take time.
happening right now as well.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I think that's all I have for now.
All right.
I'm a no.
Thank you, Mr. Flewelling.
Mr. Kuzno, leave him alone.
Let the record show Mr. Avery is excused. He has another commitment. Mr. Lloyd, you wanted the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to be briefer than I intended to, because I had a number of questions, but I'm going to.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
All right.
I'm not going to go through all of the questions that I have. What I will say is that I appreciate the work that the group has done, and I have no issue and take no offense to the group working through to determine solutions and what possibilities are out there in terms of as it relates to healthcare and costs and so on and so forth. I think it's responsible for that to take place. So on one hand, I do commend you for doing that. But I do want to just ensure and just encourage the recognition, even in doing this important work, that ultimately the decision makers are the Board of Commissioners. So we have to vote and make the decision. And so, although I understand the group taking time to work through it, you know, what I would ask is that when working through these kinds of things, that you ask certain questions if you didn't already. When should we inform the board chair, the varying committees? At what point, if we're headed down a certain road, should we engage the board? You know, we can do things, our chair can do things like appoint special committees to support. Maybe there are settings where, you know, maybe commissioners can sit in, because ultimately a year for the group to debate it and come to a recommendation, and then a month for us to digest it and make a decision, that's not fair, and it's not responsible on our part, given the potential impact. Even for, you know, even to save money, and even though it's good that you've gone through this process, it doesn't take away that there's a real impact as a result of ultimately our decision. And then ultimately, our decisions have community impact. It has impact on our residents, but it also has political impact. And so, not just for you all, but just across our county and all departments, you know, there should be awareness and sensitivity to that. And then also, I encourage you to communicate with our Director of Administration so that he, if you haven't, you may have, so that he can advise you, because ultimately it's our decision to make. And so I'll get off that horse. We've been through this before, and that's been said. Right at the beginning of my term, one of the first meetings that we had folks lined up and upset about some things. I don't even remember all of the details. We don't want to be back there. And I think Commissioner Cousineau said it best, that, you know, jarring our retirees, it also has a health consequence. If it's nothing else but raising their blood pressure and causing them to have unnecessary stress. So, a couple concerns. I'm presenting these as statements. They're not questions, because I know where I am on this, is that the piece about changing medicines, you know, different brands may have different impact on folks. That's a concern, because then there's you know, it may not be a dollar amount, but it is a health consequence to that. The other thing that I saw was that some of the medicines that insurance may not pay for it, and so then retirees will have to seek assistance to fund those. It's on page 50, it's on page 6 of this presentation. 'Cause I saw I saw heads shake no, so I'll ask for clarification. On page number 6, it says, some drugs may require members to apply for assistance. What kind of assistance are you referring to?
Either the manufacturer's assistance or the patient assistance programs that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's not covered. It just means we want to try and access that drug at the lowest cost possible for both the county and the member.
Okay.
They may not qualify, though. It doesn't mean that at that point the drug will be covered just through traditional channels.
Okay, thank you for clarification, because it says some drugs may require members to apply for assistance to access at a lower cost. And then it also says, all members will be eligible for assistance through Smith RX program. So I did have some questions about that, making sure that, how do you notify the retirees of, what that process is, what they have to apply for assistance for, and is there support to help walk them through that process?
Yes to all, and the way that they're notified is via mail.
Okay. And then, there's one other thing I'll capture. I won't go through all of these. I'll just stop there. I think that, for me, I'm not going to be in support tonight to do it, because I think the timeline is not fair to the retirees. I don't think the timeline gives us enough time to really get through this the way we need to and be engaged and ask questions of folks that are part of committees and so on and so forth. So for me, it's the timeline, and it just doesn't give me the opportunity to be responsible to make the right decision, whether it's to support it or not support it. So that's where I am. I'll wrap with that.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Mr. Cousineau.
Anita, is there a number on the top of your head of people that this affects that are retired but yet under 65?
It's on page 5.
Okay,
It's,
well, that goes to
300
show you I didn't bother to read it. I already had opinions before I
Trying
started.
to do head math here. 324, it looks like, if I'm doing the math right. 324. Now that is, when we say retiree contracts, that's the actual number of retirees. The number, that number is just the retiree, does not include the cover.
Well, I understand that, yeah. And each year that's going to be less as we get older.
Yes. Okay. So one other thing that I thought might be worth reminding the board is that in the event that we don't make this change for June 1st, we are effectively locking in with Express Scripts for 3 years. So we won't be in front of this board again talking about this, until 3 years from now.
No, for 2 years, because we should get to it early.
Yes.
So, sorry.
It's okay.
It's a point of irritation.
Well, that's fine. I understood that, yeah.
All right. Do we have additional discussion? Dr. Brown.
I just have 2 cents to add.
Okay, please.
To what extent have we sat down to negotiate with Express Scripts the possibility of going to a 1-year contract versus a 3-year contract?
Unfortunately, we don't have any negotiating leverage because the way that we access Express Scripts is through RX Benefits, that third party. They are the negotiating arm that negotiates with Express Scripts. And we, the county, are participating in that contract, those terms. Okay.
Is there another third-party negotiator that we might consider working with?
There are, but 3-year contracts in the pharmacy benefit manager space are very common. The Smith RX 1-year contracts is the anomaly, not the norm.
And how much will our budget run? It says the county's health plan continues to run over budget. How much is it going to run over? I heard you say we'll save $300 and $60,000 a year. Is it gonna run over by that much every year?
No, because we haven't projected, we haven't built in the savings to, the savings associated with this potential change. We haven't built it into the budget or assumed that. And I think at the last board meeting last week, Crystal had mentioned the retirees are actually performing well relative to the active employees. So in terms of being over budget, it isn't as big a problem with the retirees as it is with the active employees.
Thank you.
Do we have additional discussion? So there's no formal resolution and there's no motion on the floor. So this was an informational.
Can we make a motion?
I think you could.
I move that we don't accept the change.
So, yeah, let me, would we have to add the item to the agenda as a resolution, or we simply?
The way I read the bylaws is that you would have to add the item to the agenda with 6 votes.
All right, so why don't you make a motion to add it to the agenda?
We add this item to the agenda.
All right, so that would be the, okay. Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. We now have the motion to add prescription drug coverage recommendation to the agenda. Is there discussion? Commissioner Cousineau.
I'm just curious, I mean, whether I'm gonna vote that we not accept it, but no matter what we do from here, but is there any, my fellow commissioners, I heard some of them, I think you, Commissioner Lloyd, that you wanted to, you know, look at it a little bit closer before you make a decision or not. I'm prepared to make a decision. I'm just asking politely if there's anybody else that wanted to wait or just get her done and over with tonight.
Mr. Chair, quick follow-up. I'm prepared to make a decision tonight.
Okay.
And just more clarification is that in the future, when considerations are being made, just to ask for it to be more timely for us. If they have a year and they're talking about it for a year, you know, once they decide, hey, we got to do something, I believe we should be flagged so that, you know, et cetera, some of the things I already said in terms of being engaged.
Commissioner Flewelling.
I made a motion to take action on it tonight because I think that the retirees that gave the best years of their adult life deserve a decision tonight and not a month or two down the road.
So the motion on the floor is to add the topic to the agenda. There's a support from Commissioner Shoemaker, I believe. Is there additional discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Topic is on the agenda, so a motion would be in order to either be supportive or opposed.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Flewelling.
Okay. I move that we stay with Express Scripts and do not make the change to Smith RX for retirees.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion is carried. We have one final item, which I'm sure is something we'll all be able to agree on. 26078.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Mr.
Just,
Lloyd.
you know, I can't ignore the reaction of the audience, although maybe pleased with the action that we've taken. I just want to reiterate, if I can, that it's our team's job to look for savings and to bring recommendations to us. And even though I voted not to support, right, well, we all did, it was a unanimous vote. What I do support is them continuing to meet to look for cost savings and how we can support, you know, meeting our obligations contractually to folks while being responsible with the resources in the county. So, you know, I just want to discourage you all. They were, through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to discourage those who are here, which I understand the passion we do, not to be rude and disrespectful to our team members and Plant Moran, because they did their job in terms of bringing it, and then the decision was ours, and we took that action. So we don't need to beat them up.
Yeah.
hopefully you
I
all
think-
understand.
I
We
think
just wanna
that's
be
well
respectful.
stated, and I don't have it in front of me, but the priorities or focus areas that we adopted last week, the second one is on the financial stability and efficiency at the county and making sure we are a going concern into the future. So, point well taken. 26078, Animal Control Fundraiser. This is from Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, we've adopted our priorities for the county. We've put them forth. And as I've spoken to a few of you, I mean, I believe this needs to be in everything we do. Whatever decision we make, does it meet our priorities for the county, where our goals are, what we're trying to do? And a few months back, I was down here with some of our staff and Mr. Freeman, and it had been on my mind that, you know, animal control millage really is sometimes not sufficient enough to cover the cost of food and the influx of animals, and so I thought, well, you know, some people's answer is to raise taxes. That's not my belief. I think people are taxed enough already in this county and where we are. So I thought of ways we could raise funds. Now, it tied into something else that had happened last summer, where I had went down to the Flint Golf Club, and I hadn't been down there in years, and I started me thinking about different unique things we have in Genesee County that we should kind of support in things we do. Instead of, you know, doing fundraisers at the fancy posh place, maybe we do them at something like a Flint Golf Club or other areas that, guess what, to revitalize that and make it part of showing how wonderful Genesee County is. I believe this fits into our priorities with what I want to do here, and what I'm proposing is I would like to have, and I already talked to our animal control director, Jay, about this. He thought it was a good idea. I've talked to a few of you about this. What I would like to do is have authorize our staff to go out, get pricing on a outing for a golf outing at Flint Golf Club, and then anyone who doesn't golf in the evening, we would have a silent auction dinner in addition to that. We could go after our vendors to be supporters of the outing, participants in the outing. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I've mentioned this to a few of you. My wife does the athletic boosters for my son's high school, and they do a night called a Cash Bash, and they can raise anywhere from a bad year, 10 grand to $20,000 just with a small group in a small school. This could offset the food costs that the animal shelter struggles with, but what I'm looking for tonight is support to authorize our staff, to have Mr. Freeman get with his staff, put something together that we could put together this fall, and it would fit many of our goals. One, show how wonderful Genesee County is and how we support the area. Two, support the animal control, because they need the help, and these animals, he has surpluses of animals, and then we have downtimes, but the thing that's constant is the cost over there is not going down. And I envision this as a big event that would be annual, and we could annually keep collecting the money. We would have to create a fund that would be a charitable fund that this money would go into, and we'd have to put people in place to direct it. But I just wanted authorization from this board to allow Mr. Freeman and his staff to move forward.
I move authorization of investigation fundraiser for the animal shelter.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker.
Thank you.
We are now on to adjournment, so we're adjourned at